Welcome to Friends and Fiction. 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories. Novelists Mary Kay Andrews, Kristin Harmel, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and Patti Callahan Henry are 4 longtime friends with more than 70 published books between them. Together, they host Friends and Fiction, with author interviews and fascinating insider talk about publishing and writing, to highlight and support independent bookstores. They discuss the books they've written, the books they're reading now, and the art of storytelling. If you love books and you're curious about the writing world, you're in the right place.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Friends and Fiction Show. I'm Kristy Woodson Harvey.
And I'm Mary Kay Andrews.
And this is Friends and Fiction, 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories to support indie bookstores, authors, and librarians. On this week's show, Mary Kay and I are thrilled to welcome Annabel Monaghan to discuss her new novel, Summer Romance, which we just loved. The book was just released on June 4th, and we are so excited to speak with Annabel about it.
But first, we have just a quick reminder to you to check out all the fun things going on in our Friends and Fiction community at friendsandfiction.com.
There, you'll find our show schedule, details on upcoming in-person events, and links to our bookshop.org page, to the Friends and Fiction official book club with Brenda and Lisa, to our merch store, our book subscription box, which is getting dangerously low on numbers, so you need to order, don't you think? And our weekly email newsletter sign up. In other words, if you want to know more about anything Friends and Fiction offers, and we offer a lot, be sure to check out friendsandfiction.com.
Okay, and speaking of that Friends and Fiction 2024 subscription box, we just mentioned it's going low. Kristy and I, as you may know, we may have told you 10,000 times, both have brand new hardcovers out this summer. If you order the signed book bundle from our friends at Oxford Exchange, you'll get hand-signed first editions of both books as they're released and some cool, exclusive Friends and Fiction swag for just $60, which is a steal. You can even add on the new paperback editions of Patti's The Secret Book of Flora Lee and Kristin's The Paris Daughter, and those will come signed as well. It makes a great gift for a friend who loves to read, even if that friend is you.
That's right. And remember that Mary Kay's new novel, Summers at the Saint, is already out. And my latest, A Happier Life, will be out on June 25th. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
I know. She's not at all anxious. Not one bit.
I barely thought of it. I'm sleeping like a baby.
Also me. Did you know that we will all be live together? That's right. Me, Kristin, Patti, and Kristy to welcome and celebrate Kristy's launch of A Happier Life on Friday, June 28th. You won't want to miss this fabulous in-person event happening in St. Louis, Missouri. Find the details and ticketing link on Kristy's website and meet us in St. Louis. Kristy, did I hear something about a champagne situation?
This is going to be so fun. So this is like a 2-parter event. So the real event is, the 4 of us on stage at 7 p.m. We're doing, not the real event, but, the main event is us on stage, 7 p.m., doing the show live in an auditorium. But there's a garden party at 5:30. It's a separate ticket, but it's like an add-on. So you can come to the garden party. I hear there will be champagne and nibbles and goodies.
Hats?
And
Hats?
I think there need to be hats, don't you think? Yeah, so check your mail. Okay, so speaking of great releases we're excited about, let's welcome our friend Annabel Monaghan. Annabel is the national best-selling author of Same Time Next Summer and Nora Goes Off Script. Annabel thinks writing those love stories has probably been the most fun she's ever had. Before writing those novels, Annabel wrote fiction for young adults and a column for not-so-young adults. She grew up in Los Angeles, and she attended Duke University, where she studied English. Annabel has an MBA from the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania and a brief history as an investment banker.
Kristy, I noticed that you didn't even puck.
I didn't even flinch when I said it. Did you hear that? Duke graduate. I didn't even flinch, and I was going to mention it. I'm glad you brought it up because it felt like a big moment.
For those of you who aren't in the know, Kristy is a diehard Carolina Tar Heel, and Duke is their across the triangle hated rival. But really, on Friends and Fiction, we're all friends here.
That's exactly right. And I love Annabelle. So we've been able to bridge the divide, which says a lot about us. We'll have to ask
Plus, it's
her
not
about it.
basketball season, and that helps.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay. Annabelle now lives in the suburbs of New York City with her family, including a little dog who sheds. Oh, I can outdo that. I have 3 dogs who shed.
Big dogs. Big dogs.
Oh, back to me. Her new novel, Summer Romance, was just released on June 4th and is the heart-tugging and hilarious story of a professional organizer whose life is a mess, and the summer she gets unstuck with the help of someone unexpected from her past.
Ooh, Sean, can you please bring Annabelle on?
Hello.
Hi, she's here. She's here.
I'm here. I'm still a blue devil, and I'm so glad to see you.
She's still a blue devil. We had her on despite that. We've been able to really get past that, and it's been good.
Right.
This is the kind of energy that we should be bringing to world events.
That's exactly right.
Look,
if Annabelle and I can be friends after going to Duke and Carolina, anything is really possible.
That's right.
Annabelle, let's get started. So, as you know, I flew through this book and I loved it so much. So, it's the story of Allie, a professional organizer whose life is kind of falling apart. So, her mother, who she comes to realize had sort of paper-clipped her life together in so many ways, passes away. Then her husband leaves. And when her dog pees on a stranger at a dog park, seemingly choosing him for her, Allie has to decide if she's brave enough to take a second chance and maybe, just maybe, clean up her own life in the process. So that's a little about what this book is about. Can you tell us a little more, and can you tell us what it's really about?
Gosh, I love paper clipping her life. I'm going to use that if that's okay.
Yeah,
you
should use that.
You own that.
I liked the cleaning up her own life in the process.
No, I like the whole thing. I'm like, why isn't Kristy writing all the back flap copy?
I'm gonna draft her to write the back flap copy for my next book.
But you can never do it for yourself,
won't.
right? Like, I'm trying to come up with like the elevator pitch for my next book, and I'm finished with it, and I can't do it.
Yeah. No, and then I always undersell it. I'm like, oh, it's a bunch of nonsense.
Right,
there's
right. It's like, I'll say like, oh, it's a little love story or something. I have this professor, and I was telling him about my first book, and I was like, oh, it's just. He was like, never say your book is just.
Agreed.
Never say.
Agreed. Let's stop doing that. I totally agree.
But let's talk about Summer Romance, which is not just a little love story.
No, it's not. And I started out writing a love story, and I wanted to write a love story about a woman who was really stuck. And I didn't initially understand all the ways that she was going to be stuck. But she's a mother of 3. She is recently separated. She is grieving the loss of her mother. And she just has this inertia about her. And she gets it in her head that she's going to get unstuck by having a romance with this adorable guy who incidentally is a skateboarder. And I hope everybody didn't just like log out, but it works. I promise.
No, it's awesome. It's so good.
It ends up, it was a hard sell to my editor, I'll tell you that, but it ends up, she was like, that's not hot. Don't do that. But I was committed. But it ends up being a book about mothers and daughters. It ends up being a book about, going through the cycle of life where you're a child and then you see your parents really for who they are. And then maybe you have your own children and you forgive your parents for all the mistakes they made. It's about taking risks and doing things even though you're 100% sure they're going to end, like having a summer romance.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Allie, notably, is excellent at putting everybody's else's life back in order and giving them that feeling of lightness in their lives. But her own home is, kind of a disaster. But little by little, we see Allie start to put her home back in order and the peace and serenity that comes with that. And, I don't want to give away too much here, but Allie has an important client that she is helping clean out a home as well. And she's helping him wade through decades of memories to hopefully make a fresh start. Is there a metaphor there?
I think that our stuff is a metaphor for everything.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
I really do. And we have so much stuff to wade through, and it's our emotional stuff. It's our physical stuff, and the meaning that we attach to it. I once wrote an article about just basically what a disaster my house is. And this professional organizer offered to come to my house. And it was so, first of all, I hated it, but it was so illuminating, the conversations we were having. She'd try to pull something out of my hands. She said, "Have you ever used this?" And I said, "No, but it was a gift. And if I get rid of it, then I didn't appreciate that gift. Right. And I should be the kind of person who uses this soup tureen," or whatever the nonsense is. But there is just so much about that, and the letting go of, your resentment and the expectations that other people have of you. It's really a process. I'm not quite there.
It's really something. And I really loved that. And actually, it's interesting. I was reading this book while I have finally kind of taken the plunge and gotten someone to help me sort of like organize everything and clean out rental storages and like let go of the stuff that we don't need. And I can't even remember which book it was, but I wrote so, superiorly about how the stuff in our lives only has meaning that we assign to it. But like my character really got that, but like, it's very difficult for us to do in our own lives to actually let go of our stuff.
Yeah.
Do you guys do this? Do you write the thing you need to learn? Do you ever write ahead of your own development?
Probably.
Yeah. And I think I don't even realize it. Like definitely in A Happier Life, I realized that I did that. Like as I was starting to do interviews, I was like, oh, wow. Like that was like a message to myself. It is interesting how we do that.
It is. It comes from your self-conscious, yourself, not your self-conscious, your subconscious.
Yeah. The girls up in the attic send that down to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think they do. I think, and it's funny because I finished writing this book in August, mm-hmm. and immediately started the process of getting my house ready to put it on the market. And this is my house that I've lived in for 17 years, mm-hmm. where I've never thrown anything away in 17 years. Mm-hmm. And I did everything Allie did in the 9 months following finishing this book.
That's so interesting. It was like you were paving the way for yourself. I was at my house, my like growing up house a couple weeks ago, and my parents have been cleaning out their attic, and my mom had this whole stash of wedding gifts. Like this was so resonant, what you just said, that I did not like 17 years ago when I got married. I was never going to use them. I am still never going to use them. And they're sitting in her attic. And she was like, "These are nice things that you're never going to use. Could I please like give them to someone who will appreciate them?" And I was finally like, yes, you can. Just because I like the person that gave me this thing I hate, it doesn't mean that I can't give it away.
And there's so much emotion. I remember my mother-in-law gave me a mandolin, and that thing is like a death wish. You put your hand right at that sharp.
Your finger.
Yeah. And it costs like $200. And I thought, she hates me because she wants to cut all my fingers off. I had so much emotion and I gave it away. And then I felt so much better.
Just free. Well, anyway, I felt like that was like such a lovely metaphor in this book. So moving on, one of the things we revisit several times in this book, which I loved, is a speech that Allie made at high school graduation that she barely remembers. And she certainly doesn't expect anyone else to until it's quoted back to her. And so in this speech, she says, "You're the architect of your own experience." And to me, this became kind of a rallying cry for this novel. So what inspired you to include this bit? And can you kind of expand on how it informs this book in a larger way?
Well, it was sort of like everything else I write. It's a bit of an accident. I was imagining her speech, and I was imagining that kind of platitude that you say, find your voice. Mm-hmm. Follow your dream. You're the architect of your own experience. So I said, you are the architect of your own experience. And as I got to know Allie, that became sort of a joke to me because she has created a life that she cannot survive in anymore. She has minimized herself. She has stepped away from her own dreams in the way that, women often do, so the other people in their families can pursue their dreams. Yeah. And none of that was forced on her. She made all of the decisions that she made. So in fact, in the moment that she's completely stuck in her life and doesn't know how to move forward, she's created that experience. And hopefully there's a happy ending that she's created too. But no, she sort of grew into the platitude of her high school graduation speech.
It's very cool.
Yeah, but I don't want you to let that prick X off the hook, Annabel.
When have we ever let a prick X off the hook? Come on.
Okay.
Come on. No, he got worse as I wrote. Every draft, he was just a little bit worse.
Yeah,
Insufferable.
He's the worst.
Insufferable. But in that quiet way. Like if he was a man who punched you in the face, we would know how to respond to that. We would call
Of course.
There are the small ways that you can put somebody down over decades of marriage that really erode their sense of who they are.
Right.
That's what I was going to say. The subtlety of it is, I think, what's so brilliant is because it's like he convinces her over 10 years that like he should be able to do all these things for himself and leave no time to help. It's like that little by little, like, but that's your job, but that's what you do. It's very good.
Yeah. There is a really interesting negotiation that happens in marriage and what's okay. And then what you've given and what's enough and what is now expected because you gave it 3 times. That's interesting to me.
I think it's interesting to all of us who've been in a marriage. So, Annabel, you write these delicious romances, but you make it very clear these romances are happening to a regular woman. She isn't a supermodel or a famous actress. And one of my favorite parts of Allie's story is when she says, I forgot to notice what underwear I was wearing. Most of it comes from a package of 6 that I get at Costco. I hope Costco is giving you some kind of major promotion from this book.
I don't know. Finish reading.
I want to find out. I want to find out.
Yeah, I want to too.
Know.
Okay, they're cotton. Those underpants are cotton in shades of beige with one blue pair that's particularly dowdy. In February and September, it's on sale, so I stock up. At this moment, I don't feel like a woman who buys her lingerie at the same place she buys laundry detergent and peanut butter pretzel bites, which now that's making me hungry. And the other thing I love about Annabel is she talks about wearing hard pants because she's been living in sweatpants for quite a while. That's something so relatable and so very real about this moment that stuck with me. Do you think you consciously try to write women who feel real and relatable?
I like women that feel real and relatable because it's so much easier for me to embody their skin. I can get into them, and I know all of their insecurities, and I know all the weight that they have on them, and so it's easier for me to understand how they're going to react. A woman with perfect thighs and a yacht, like. No, I don't really know how she feels in her skin. So yes, a regular woman is much more, more relatable to me. And the hard pants, it's such a small thing is getting out of your sweatpants and putting on a pair of hard pants. But what I was trying to get at is, and I've been stuck in my life. I don't know if you guys have ever felt like I'm so stuck. I don't know what to do next. Mm-hmm. Never a big decision that gets you unstuck. It's always like a small thing, getting up, getting outside the house, putting on some hard pants, taking off your wedding ring, and just getting out there. And so that the next thing can happen.
Yeah. Like when she cleans the kitchen counters,
just a little. Yeah.
Just that forward motion.
Can I say something about Costco underwear though?
Yeah.
Please.
So I was just thinking, you're a separated mother. You don't think anybody's going to see your underwear. You don't think you're going to get into that situation. You're not. It didn't occur to you. So that makes sense that could happen. So while I'm writing this book, I'm visiting my son in college, and I realize I didn't pack any underwear. And then I find myself at Costco buying beer for all of his friends. And there they were, the package of Costco underwear that I imagined. And I'm here to tell you, that's great underwear.
It is.
Coverage, comfortable, not a lot of elastic. It is great underwear.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
I don't know.
I think I see a TikTok segment
In your
with
future.
you endorsing Costco underwear, Annabelle.
I used to go get it for camp. Like we would have like all the camp underwear when you were at camp for like a long time, and we would go buy the big packs of camp underwear, and it was great. It's great underwear, actually.
I can't believe they had Costco when you were a kid. That's how much younger you are than I am.
I also, right?
Right? Costco. I mean, that's something that I know about as an adult.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got Costco. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's
that
good
is.
underwear.
It's good underwear. Yeah. So we're here to say it. We're here to say it. I mean, the blue pair, maybe you just shove in the back.
There's always a red pair that's a bummer.
Okay, so as much as this novel is about Costco underwear and romance and moving forward, it's also a novel about motherhood. And Annabelle, you and I actually, it was interesting because I saw you in real life right before I read this book, and we had a conversation about trying to raise adults and how incredibly difficult that is, because you just want to fix everything, and it's kind of easier, right? Like if you just fix it, you solve it, it's just an easier situation. And so, in Allie's point of view, you write, I look at my kids and imagine them grown up and strong. I imagine them being able to carry a canoe into the water by themselves. I want them to be prepared to be 38, which I love. So, what pieces of your own experience as a mother made it into this novel?
Oh, basically all of it. I mean, honestly, my husband read a draft of this book and he said, "Oh, I didn't realize it was an autobiography." And I said, the struggle that I have had since my kids were little, since the first time they tried to do a jigsaw puzzle by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching a little kid do a jigsaw puzzle, and it's only like 5 pieces, and he's got 4 in there, but then the last one's upside down, and you're like ripping your hair out.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to do it because it's easier for you. But of course, they're not going to learn how to do a jigsaw puzzle if you don't walk out of the room and let them do it. As my kids have gotten older, through middle school, through high school, now they're out on their own, I want to do anything I can to prevent them from ever having a bad day.
Oh yeah.
You can't do it. And it has been the challenge of my life, just absolutely zipping my lip, sitting on my hands, and not stepping in when I know that a disaster is imminent, because this is how we end up raising adults. But it goes against all of my instincts. So Allie has a mother who is absolutely the most wonderful, well-meaning mother. And she knows that Allie has a difficult relationship and a difficult marriage. And so she pitches in whenever she can to just make it easier for them. And as a result, Allie comes to see that she's just completely lost how to negotiate in her own marriage, because her mother is doing the thing that I'd like to do all the time, which is, how can I fix this?
Yeah.
It's really hard.
That was such I actually had a question about that for you later, but let's talk about it now because you brought it up. And I didn't want to say too much because I didn't want to give too much away, but it's so interesting to me how Allie, through this process of becoming a single mother, she goes on this continuum from thinking her mother was the best mother in the world and a saint, which she still thinks she's the best mother in the world. It doesn't change that. But she begins to slowly realize how she used her mother as a Band-Aid for all of the problems in her marriage, for all of the problems in her life. And she starts to wonder a little bit if, maybe if she had faced that earlier and done the hard thing and the work, that maybe her life would have turned out a different way, which of course we don't want it to turn out a different way because it turns out spectacularly. But I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that we let's put our children aside, but I think it's the same thing. I think we handicap each other by doing too much for other adults. We don't all need each other's advice, and we don't all need each other to step in and fix things. I think that particularly in a marriage, I think that those, enough friction there will cause change. And that's what Allie comes to see, is that her mother was the thing that kept them from solving any problems.
Yeah, that's so interesting. No friction, no change. I like that.
No friction, no change. You need to allow people to have friction. And this is me talking because, if my kids call right now, I'm going to, what's that? What do you need? How can I help?
Oh, yeah.
Can I drive 4 hours and bring you the water bottle that you forgot? Sure. Of course I'll do that. I have a book coming out in 2 days, but it's not a problem.
Yeah. I
Exactly.
have a 38-year-old son who just left this morning, and I'm like, can I get you this? Can I get you that? And I can remember my mother-in-law when we would go down to Florida to visit my folks and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law would literally run after the car trying to pack more food in for us to take home.
We have the same mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sandwiches. She would give, it's a 2-hour flight. She would give me 3 sandwiches just for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
To eat on that flight.
Here's some sauerkraut. Thanks. I really don't want to eat. I don't eat sauerkraut, and I really don't want to eat it in the car.
or the plane. Yes. But that's really the whole point. It's like, it's such an act of love.
It is.
And things, we think we're maybe annoying about our mothers. It's all out of love. It's like, I am smothering you because I want to protect you.
Right.
And then we just all have to figure out our own boundaries.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about, there's so many ways. There's so many wonderful telling details in this book, which, again, I'm holding it up, summer romance. You talk a lot about self-care in the Instagrammable type of way. Like Allie buys these ridiculous candles for her bathtub, and then she can't figure out, why her life isn't fixed by Instagrammable candles. In a lot of ways, this novel is Allie's journey to figure out how to take care of herself, something she has done shockingly less of than she has realized. She thinks in one scene, for sure, being prepared is self-care. And even though Allie is 38, this feels like a bit of a coming-of-age novel. And I don't think 38 is too late to come of age. I'm still hoping my son's going to do it. Hope he's not watching this. Maybe it's more like a coming into independence novel. So why was it important for you to write about this? Or did you intend to do that?
No, I did. Because that's a thing I think about all the time. Instagram markets dresses to me, and they market them so well. They're always something I want to buy. They know what they're doing, but they also market all this sort of stuff to fix how unhappy I am.
Right.
And it always smells good. I don't know what all this stuff is. And I always have this idea that self-care isn't getting super stressed out and then taking a bath. Self-care is preventing yourself from getting super stressed out. Knowing how much money you have, taking care of paying your bills, getting things fixed that you need to get fixed, sort of preventing the problems. And I think that for me, that's what self-care is. And all of this stuff that you can spend money on, it just, I don't know, feels like spam.
Yeah.
Although I'm going to have to say, there is some stuff that Instagram markets to me that I am like, man, how did they know that I needed that? They know. I am like, there are some like things that I would just not eat, like some bizarre things that I ordered this weekend that I was like, how did they know that I need that for book tour? Like, I need that so badly. And here it is in my life. Click.
Yeah. What was it?
And it's
$12.95. What did you get?
Yeah. What did you get? Maybe I want it.
I don't even want to tell. That's why I was like dancing. I don't even want to tell you. You know how I got this really cool new sticky bra, but it's not actually sticky.
Oh.
It's this like silica. Anyway, this is a lot to talk about on air, but they just sent it to me and I was like, this is exactly what I need in my life. And I clicked on it and it was $12.95. And I was like, this is just what I need under these dresses. Great.
Okay, so this is where I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid that Mark Zuckerberg is scrolling through my Instagram and he's looking and thinking, well, she's a little droopy there. Let's send her the silicone stickies. Like, how do they know?
I don't know. And I'm kind of thinking like the creepiest part is that I think I had just ordered this like backless dress, like, somewhere not on Instagram. So I'm like, yeah, they know. They're watching us, baby. And I know people hate it, but I'm kind of like, I know it's bad, but it's so convenient.
No, it's super convenient. It's super convenient. But I do think that a lot of the messaging to women is spend all of your money so that you can feel better. And I don't think there's a lot of messaging to women about how to really take care of yourself, how to really take command of your own life, how to deal with your own health. And that is not starving yourself to death, how to really care for yourself. So that was so many things in my books are accidental, but that actually was deliberate. It was something I wanted to talk about.
Well, now I'm envious all over again. Annabel, if you would stick around, we have one more question for you at the end. But first, we have a few quick reminders to our listeners and viewers out there.
For all of you watching and listening, we encourage you to rush out and buy your copies of Summer Romance. The perfect place to do that is at the Friends and Fiction shop on bookshop.org. You'll be getting it at a discount and helping to fund our show, all while supporting our guests and our beloved independent booksellers nationwide.
And we promise we will not send you any sticky back bras.
We will not.
No, we
will not. Maybe that should be our freebie next year.
No, unless you need them. We're watching you. And if you need them, we're going to send them to you.
That's correct. We also want to remind you to follow us on Instagram and join our Facebook group, which is nearly 250,000 members strong. When you visit friendsandfiction.com, you can stay up to date about everything we have going on, and you can sign up for our weekly email newsletter, which is chock full of bonus content.
All right, Annabel, can you tell everyone out there how to connect with you? Where can we find you online and on book tour?
So I am Annabel Monaghan, and Monaghan has a G in it. You got to put it in the right place, on Instagram. And I am most of the time on Instagram, but I'm also Annabel Monaghan, Facebook and Threads and Twitter. And I am going on book tour. It starts June 3rd, and I am going to be gone for 10 days and a lot of places throughout the summer. So all of that information is on my website at annabelmonaghan.com.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that Annabel is going to be in Atlanta, I think, on Monday, June 10th at Foxtail.
I am. I'm so excited to be at Foxtail, and I'm going to be with Colleen Oakley.
Yeah, our favorite.
It's her birthday.
Oh, fun.
I know. I get to spend her birthday with her. This is amazing.
Well, that'll be a great doubleheader. We love Colleen and her books. So thank you for stopping by with us today, Annabel, and being with us on Friends and Fiction. And I can't tell you again how much. And I've been telling everybody on book tour, somebody always asks a question, well, what are you reading? And I keep saying, Summer Romance, baby.
You know what a difference that makes. It makes all the difference in the world.
I hope it does. Yeah, I know. And in both of our cases, we know on a personal basis what a difference it makes.
Yeah, it really does. So thank you.
Well, thanks for being with us. And be sure to tune in next week when Patti and Kristin will welcome best-selling author Lisa Wingate to discuss her new novel, Shelterwood. That show will air live on the Friends and Fiction Facebook page and YouTube channel on Wednesday, July 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And it will be posted to our podcast for your listening pleasure on Friday, June 14th.
In the meantime, thank you to all of us for being here with us. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. You can join us every week on Facebook or YouTube, where our live show airs on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram. We're so glad you're here.